What's up? A to Z Sports Live on a Thursday. Been a weird week. It's already Thursday, which, hey, sounds good to me as we roll on post-Christmas. Hope everybody had a good Christmas yesterday. Now we get back to the football stuff. You leave all the good vibes away. Now we're talking about the Titans potentially cleaning house and firing everybody the day after Christmas. I'm Austin Stanley with Sam Phelan talking here with you guys on December 26th. I think we have a really good topic, and I'll kind of share how we got to this topic once we get started here, Sam. But we're going to talk about Amy Adams Strunk and a golden opportunity that could present itself to her and this Titans' awful, disastrous season. We'll also do trivia because I have an idea. I have a plan on what to do, an executive order that's potentially going to be happening in the new year with our trivia. But we're going to have trivia on a Thursday. And Sam is not in another hostage closet. You're just in a new place that you've moved to, and the backdrop got broken in the move. So we're having to figure that thing out on the fly in like week 17 of the season 2.
Yeah, we're working through the backdrop. The whole end of the season is a work in progress here. We're cleaning house. Miss Amy's maybe cleaning house, and we don't know what the future holds for any of this stuff yet, which is what makes this so great. Austin, you said that we had good vibes for Christmas, right? We were all positive.
Yeah.
Good vibes are gone. Now, immediately the day after Christmas, we couldn't even wait to the end of the holiday season in order to bring back the doom and gloom. But maybe it's not doom and gloom. Maybe this is what's best for the Titans. Maybe this is a good scenario for the Titans. And there's a reason why it can't wait until after the new year. We'll talk about that today. It's going to be a great show. I've got some hot takes ready to fire off. It's been a while since I've been on a show, almost a full week. So
yeah,
the hot take is just, itching to come out. I've got them all over the place. So it's going to be an exciting show. Make sure you share the show this morning. So hit the share button in the bottom right corner if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link, send it to a friend, a group chat. You can repost us on the Twitter X timeline. Whatever it is that you can do to get the word out there that A to Z Sports is live, it'll help us out. And don't forget to leave a like on the show this morning as well before we kick it off on a Thursday morning.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. You got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. Do that by using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ, and TDOT. Join TDOT's campaign to end littering and find a solution to end littering across our state at nobodytrashestennessee.com. So, Sam, I believe Monday afternoon, I was trekking my way back from frozen Ohio through very dreary gray Kentucky on my way back home from the curb stomping that was given by Ohio State to my Tennessee Volunteers, but had a great time. So Monday I was driving back and I was listening to Brian Callahan's press conference and was talking on the phone with you and Easton on and off. And we had this kind of idea as you were working on the what has to happen for the Titans to get the number 1 overall seed. And I think it kind of popped into our brains simultaneously of if the Titans get the number 1 or number 2 draft pick, depending on who that else is, like how does that change the decision that Amy's got here, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like, let's talk. I said off the beginning, like there's a reason we can't wait till after the holiday season.
Yeah.
And it's because the climax point is coming this Sunday. The Titans play the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday. And what I called on A2ZSports.com, Austin, the biggest game this team has played in since the playoff loss to the Bengals. The most important game the Tennessee Titans organization has had since losing to the Bengals as the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Because that is kind of the thing that I believe could be potentially at stake here. You are talking about a team currently sitting in a position to either get a franchise quarterback or Travis Hunter in the draft, or ruin their ability to do so with a win. And it was through us discussing that potential opportunity that we realized that depending on what happens over the next 2 games, Amy Adams Strunk could be sitting with the golden opportunity that I have been kind of waiting for her to have, that you've kind of been talking about her potentially having. And does that involve cleaning house? And so then, therefore, how does where the Titans are picking in the NFL draft affect what Amy wants to do with her staff?
Yeah. It is interesting because I don't necessarily think Brian Callahan deserves to be fired at this point, and they could go 3-14 and lose the next 2 games to get to that bottom out period. But I just think it's been a very tough situation because the whole roller coaster of this season has ended in a dumpster fire because the quarterback position has been erratic and bad. And the quarterback position has cost the Titans games early in the season. The defensive injuries have continued to stack up. You've got ghosts of Christmas past. David Long Jr. is coming back, and Kenneth Murray is going on injured reserve, and all the other injuries that have stacked up. I mean, when's the last time L'Jarius Sneed and Chido Awuzie played in a game together as the Titans' big money starting cornerbacks? I know the answer. It's week 3 against the Jets. Yeah. Like, that is the last time that those 2 guys played in the same game. And that was a long time ago. That was when you're like, oh, this defense is really, could this defense be great if Will Levis stops averaging 3 turnovers a game? And then you've gone through the Will Levis really like comeback season, and that crashed and burned, and everybody on the defense is injured now. And the offense, you trade away D-Hop, you trade away Ernest Jones. Like, there's been so many weird things where I don't think Brian Callahan deserves to be fired on that alone, but you can't ignore what the opportunity would be if you're sitting there with the top pick in the NFL draft and you have a chance to go Shedeur Sanders and start over. And I think let's get to this draft order thing here right now. Well, and then I'll let you play out the importance of the situation.
Well, this is because this is what it started from, was me kind of explaining this to you. And when I first explained this situation to you, Austin, your exact word was, that's it? That's a lot simpler than I think it is. So what do the Titans need to happen? Sorry, we're still working through something here.
Working through it, yeah.
Yeah. What do the Titans need to happen to still get the first overall pick in the NFL draft? Here's the list. Currently, Tennessee is picking 4th. 3-12, you see them tied with the Jaguars. Even though the Titans lost the head-to-head to Jacksonville, it's strength of schedule that ultimately wins out in terms of draft tiebreakers. So the Jags are ahead of them. New England is ahead of them. The Giants are ahead of them. To get the first overall pick, they just need 3 things to happen. The Titans need to lose out. If they lose to the Jags and the Texans, they would, of course, jump the Jaguars. They would not be at risk of being passed by Cleveland or Vegas. And so the Titans would end up in the top 3. Any win by the Giants or Patriots, because you look at that SOS number, the Giants have a much more difficult strength of schedule than the Titans. If the Giants were to pull out a win in the final 2 weeks of the season, the Titans would pick in front of the Giants. If New England were to win a game, the New England would then have 4 wins. The Titans would pick in front of the Patriots. So if they lose out, the Giants win, and the Pats win, you then are looking at the Titans having the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I will also say, though, really, your Shedeur Sanders scenario is Titans lose out, Giants win 1 game. And there's no guarantee the Giants take Shedeur Sanders if they're picking number 1. I've heard Cam Ward rumored to them quite a bit. So that's kind of still up in the air, which quarterback it would be.
There's so much more time for crazy draft narratives.
I mean, if the Titans end up with the 2nd overall pick in the draft and New England is the team picking in front of them, I personally have a hard time seeing the Patriots trading out of that pick when Travis Hunter is on the board. So unless it's going to be moving down to like pick 3 with the Giants and you know, putting themselves in a position to get Travis Hunter and move back, which would make sense for New England if they had the opportunity to do so. There's a lot of chances for the Titans to get Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, one of these quarterbacks. And I'll go as far as to say, even if they just lose out, that's all they have to do. They are guaranteed a top 3 pick in the draft. That means Ward, Sanders, or Travis Hunter is going to be a Tennessee Titan, presumably, right? Based on what we know about the ideal draft order at this point in time, which then leads us to this situation where I've been asking for this forever from the Titans. And I know it good and well because, the chat knows that I root for my Chicago Bears, and I deal with this with the Chicago Bears. And I believe it is a pillar, a check mark for poorly run organization is the failure to align and pair GM, head coach, quarterback, the 3 most important figures on the Mount Rushmore of your organization, and how teams never seem to be able to align them. And it's something Miss Amy has not done with this organization. And all of the good things that she's done for the Titans, all of the winning that she aspires to do, one thing that has not happened has been able to say, here's a GM who's going to hire his head coach, who's going to draft his quarterback, and these 3, we're going to be committed to them all at the same time. We're going to have a clear power structure. We're going to understand that this head coach is responsible for his quarterback. This GM is responsible for his head coaching choice, and you're going to be held accountable for those choices. It's been, this guy's voted off the island. This guy's voted off the island. This guy's about to get voted off. He plays an immunity idol. He survives one more round. Then he gets voted off the next year. And that's kind of how we've done things for the last couple of years here. This would be the chance. Like you said, Brian Callahan maybe doesn't deserve to be fired.
Yep.
But if you have the pick to go and get the young quarterback, is now the time that you say, we're getting a new GM. We're getting a new head coach. We're drafting the quarterback at the top of the draft. And here's my chance to realign my organization in a way that makes sense.
She was close to having this alignment right when she took over. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it was close because when Amy Adams Strunk took over as controlling owner, Ken Wisenhunt was already the head coach. Rustin Webster was already the GM, and Marcus Mariota was just drafted and was as a rookie. And that is where Amy takes over after that draft. Then all of a sudden you realize that Marcus might have some upside. Wisenhunt is a terrible head coach for this team, and Rustin Webster has continued to be a bad GM. So you clean those 2 guys out, and you have John Robinson and interim coach turned full-time head coach Mike Mularkey. And there you had, a good triumvirate of guys at the GM, head coach, quarterback spot, but the head coach was a retread, and the quarterback could not truly break through.
Well, the one time that they actually got close to this, I would argue, is Mike Vrabel, Ryan Tannehill. Yes. Because Tannehill, John comes in, and with Mularkey, they both inherit Marcus Mariota. Mularkey gets fired. Vrabel comes in. Vrabel inherits Marcus Mariota. Vrabel does well with Marcus, and almost goes to the playoffs. Goes back to the playoffs the next year, but in order to go back to the playoffs the next year, makes a quarterback change to Ryan Tannehill, his veteran who he chose to sign and invest in for his offense. That worked. The best Titans we have seen to this point is the Robinson, Vrabel, Ryan Tannehill Titans. 2022, a 7-3 start, starts to get a little bit hairy with a couple losses in a row with the Robinson, Vrabel, Tannehill, and then it ends because Robinson gets fired. Now it's a no GM team that sputters out to they lose out all the way the rest of the season. You bring in Rand Carthon, who now inherits a head coach and a quarterback. I don't think he wanted either one of them. And so you go 1 year with that group, and then you draft Will Levis, and then you boot out Mike Vrabel after 1 year of that. And so now you've got Brian Callahan coming in, and Rand has chosen the head coach, but the head coach hasn't chosen the quarterback. And it's been this weird, level where it's not all aligned. And as we've seen, like I just said, the most successful version of the Titans in recent memory is the one time that they were closer to being simpatico and on the same page all the way down.
But as Jeff brings up, drafting Isaiah Wilson, it was because the GM got cocky and the ego got the best of him.
Yeah,
and his drafts went from really good in 2016, 2017, 18, and 19 to as bad as they could possibly be in 2020 through 2022.
Yeah.
And so, Eric says, I guess this is not pre-recorded. Have we just not read a comment yet? That's why people thought we were pre-recorded. Maybe, I don't know, but we are not pre-recorded. We are live sitting here. Maybe it just we were caught up in our own stuff. Neither of us have talked on camera in long enough, so we were just trying to just vomit everything out.
This is my flu game, dude. I'm fighting Eric.
So, all right. So let's now we're going to get you guys more involved. Now that we've kind of laid out the situation here. And we are known to be live and not pre-recorded. Do you buy or sell this idea? And the idea is, if the Titans get the number 1 draft pick, ownership should clean house to align the GM, head coach, and the quarterback. We want to know if you guys buy or sell this idea. If the Titans get the number 1 draft pick, they should clean house to align the GM, head coach, and the quarterback. Here is the situation again. As you guys have your comments fly in, I will go ahead and get a YouTube poll set up as well. But in order to get that first draft pick, the Titans have to lose out, which means losing to Jacksonville and the Texans. The Giants need to win 1 game. They play a game against the Colts this upcoming weekend, and then against the Eagles in the last game of the season. The Eagles might be playing for nothing. They might be playing for the 1 seed in the NFC. That's interesting to find out. The Patriots also have games coming up against the Chargers and the Bills, 2 teams that might have something to play for, maybe not. So those are the situations there. So we'll get to the comments here in a second. Buy or sell, if the Titans get the number 1 overall pick, they should clean house to align GM, head coach, and the quarterback. But first, Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out when it comes to your health coverage, whatever your situation may be. Farm Bureau Health Plans have been serving Tennesseans for 78 years, and they can do the same thing for you that they've been able to do for Zach and other people in our company as well. They can find out what your situation is, whether you're an independent contractor, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're out there, you don't want to go to the marketplace. You can go to Farm Bureau Health Plans because they've got you covered there. Maybe you're older, you and your spouse have an empty nested house, and you guys need to go find that next level of coverage. Farm Bureau Health Plans can do that and anything in between. So plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, and vision. Get a quote today and fill out a health assessment by visiting fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the sports book born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. So whatever your first bet wager amount is, it can go back into your account in the form of a bonus bet if you miss your first shot. That's why it's the sports book born in Vegas and the best sports book to go to when you bet this NFL season. BetMGM.com.
All right, so we're going to get to our buy or sell situation. If the Titans get the number 1 overall draft pick, ownership should clean house to align the GM, the head coach, and the quarterback. Buy or sell. Sam, I will send you to the comments. We also need more people to like the show. So hit that like button if you haven't yet already. Buy or sell. What are you seeing from the audience here so far on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch?
I see a buy. Buy.
Different buy, but yes.
Well, you know, you get the point. Bustin' Diamond says buy. Sell from Puka. Sell from Titans Kyle. Sell from Demario, Steven, and Nick. Jeff is buying. We got not sells, but we got a hell no and an absolutely not, and a hard sell from Eric. A sell from Clouthouse ENT. A buy from Caleb. A sell from Ashley. Sell from Darius. Sell it in the parking lot, says Andre. Eric says sell. Curtis says sell. Demetrius, buy. Mark, sell. Sell from Zoe Almighty. Sell. The opposite of buy. From Matt, Sell from the Mike Corbo. We've got a buy from Jerry, a yes, which I'll take as a buy from Mike McGowan as well. Buy, include the president also. The president doesn't.
The president,
Leave Bert Nihil out of this. You leave Bert
Bert
out.
Nihil's building a stadium right now. Like, let him continue his project, please. Yes, yeah.
Darren says buy. Steven says sell. Top tier sell. Guy says sell. And Danny with a very honest, not sure to be honest. I'll say, Austin, I'm surprised at the amount of people that are selling this.
Okay.
I will just say that. So, like, I'll get ahead of it. I'm buying this.
You're buying. You're all in. Oh,
it's
dude.
my idea.
I'm gonna continue to let the YouTube poll mature a little bit because it was a just now vote or published, but it is overwhelmingly one direction.
Yeah.
But I'll let you go ahead.
Demetrius says he's surprised of all the sells. I'm with Demetrius. Your team is 3-12. They're the worst organization in the NFL over the last 2 calendar years. Not hearsay, fact. They have the worst record in the NFL over the last 2 calendar years. That has been the Rand Carthon era of Titans football. The Brian Callahan era of Titans football has been horrible. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have any organizational alignment. It's a rebuild that you spent. It's a rebuild that you spent $240 million to rebuild. You don't spend $240 million to rebuild. The Titans were trying to compete. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They were trying to win games this year. They failed at it. This is I
don't want to cut you off because I want you to keep going. But like, they failed this year because Will Levis was not the guy, right? And what did we say? Going into the season, you have to have your definitive answer on Will Levis. And they got it.
Totally. You have a lot more issues than quarterback.
No doubt.
Like,
and those issues have gotten worse and stacked up more.
I mean, Mason Rudolph, a guy who you chose to come in and sign, has the exact same stat, the exact same passer rating, the exact same everything as Will Levis this year. First time that's ever happened in NFL history that 2 quarterbacks on the same team have the exact same passer rating. That's where they are. Like, the quarterback play has been the same between Levis and Rudolph. You haven't won games, and you haven't won games because you're weak at linebacker, because you don't have enough weapons, because your offensive line has been horrible all year. Your edge rushers are bad. Your depth at safety hasn't been very good. They have a lot of issues, and they spent over $200 million to correct these issues. So I'm surprised that when the organization is the worst organization in the NFL, that we're not calling for change, that we're sitting here and accepting the fact that it's a rebuild. This is 2 years now since Rand Carthon took over the job that they've been trying to not rebuild. And if you want to rebuild, don't do it this way.
Yeah, the competitive rebuild, when does that work?
Never.
Yeah. Super rare. I don't have a chance that it did off the top of my head. The Preds tried to do the whole competitive rebuild a few years ago, and that flopped, and they're just as bad as the Titans right now. So I think, like, I'm not against the idea. You are full on buy. If the Titans get the number 1 overall draft pick, you are firing everybody. Yes. And so state the what does clean house mean? Because I think it was Scott. I think somebody caught my Amy Cleanhouse joke on the graphic today earlier in the show. But like, how do you define cleaning house?
Well, let me explain. So for me, it would be the coaching staff, the head coach, and the general manager. That to me is what cleaning house looks like. There can be a couple of holdovers, I suppose, if somebody on the staff is really beloved within the organization. But the idea would be that you hire a new GM who hires a new head coach who brings in his own staff, and you reset the thing. And you no longer have to risk doing that with a quarterback that has gotten to know one way of doing things, who has gotten to know a certain head coach. You are resetting your organization. That is the idea of a clean house.
I've followed.
Which then becomes, by the way, a rebuild, 100%. But at least rebuilding the right way. Let me make this case a little bit though, because Andre said, Sam, Rand had a hand in hiring Cali. Now Rand and Cali can bring in their QB. No need to clean house. The issue for me is not the idea that like Rand chose Cali chooses this quarterback. Boom, you're good. It's because I believe, not only for myself, not only for the fan base, but most specifically for Amy Adams Strunk, I believe the Titans, there is pressure to win in 2025. Miss Amy did not fire John Robinson and Mike Vrabel to go 3 years of being the worst team in the sport. Going into their grand stadium reveal for the Titans to be a joke. Right now, the Titans are a joke, straight up. And so I think there is pressure to either be competitive or show progress towards a bright future. Yeah. One of those two things needs to happen in 2025. You either need to, I'm not saying you need to make the playoffs, whatever, but if you go 9-8, whatever, you need to win more games in 2025. Or you need to have a team that maybe doesn't compete, but a young quarterback that you like, that has upside and future and is trending in the right direction. You need all of those things.
And so what you're saying you don't want.
What you don't want is Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon having their jobs in 2025, having a bridge quarterback, sucking like they probably will. And now they're saying, all right, well, now we're going to go get our quarterback. And you extend this life of something that you've had the opportunity to streamline and make sense for years now.
All right. So what you don't want, and I think this is where Brandon says fire Sam from A to Z, which I think is hilarious. No. And then also Buckeye DK says, Dan, A to Z hired Buck and Sam, not even Titans fans. Absolutely hate watching Buck at night. Austin's the only legit one. Well, newsflash, I'm not a Titans fan either. So we cover the team. That's how this works. But here's the good thing about what Sam's saying. Sam is a Bears fan. As a Chicago native, he has seen this literally play out this season, right? What you don't want.
I've seen it playing out the last decade.
Yeah.
And you don't want it. It's the idea that you now have, so what the Bears did, right? The Bears had, they brought in John Fox. And with John Fox as the head coach, they drafted Mitchell Trubisky, 2nd overall. After Mitchell Trubisky's rookie season in the league, the Bears fired John Fox. Now the Bears hired Matt Nagy. This is all with Ryan Pace as the general manager. So now you're bringing in Matt Nagy, this offensive guru head coach, who is inheriting a quarterback that he's not crazy about. Right. Matt Nagy, by the way, came from the Kansas City Chiefs and had Patrick Mahomes very, very high on his board. And the Bears drafted the quarterback without the head coach. Matt Nagy was the guy who wanted Patrick Mahomes, got Patrick Mahomes, and then, gets hired by the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky is a problem. The Bears have a couple of competitive years, but there's kind of a cap on what they're able to do because of their quarterback. So they move on from Mitchell Trubisky. While keeping Matt Nagy as the head coach. Then they draft Justin Fields. Oh, and by the way, along the way, they fired Ryan Pace. They hire Ryan Poles. So now you have Ryan Poles with a head coach in Matt Nagy with a quarterback in Justin Fields, and Poles is inheriting both of them. But Matt Nagy chose Justin Fields, but Justin Fields has a lame duck head coach who 1 year into his rookie year, after his rookie season of the Bears not winning because they have a rookie quarterback, now you fire the head coach.
Yeah.
Now
it's a mess, complete mess.
A new coach. Ryan Poles hires Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus comes in. They do 1 year of Justin Fields with Matt Eberflus. After 1 year of Justin Fields with Matt Eberflus, you get rid of Justin Fields. You bring in Caleb Williams. And guess what the Bears just did again? Fired the head coach after a quarterback's rookie year, actually during his rookie year. And so now you once again will be hiring a head coach who is inheriting his quarterback. Luckily, Caleb Williams is the 1st overall pick, and you feel good about a coach wanting to inherit.
So
him.
they're kind of, the Bears are kind of in the situation from Marcus Mariota's rookie year where Wisenhunt gets fired mid-season and they have a chance to go do something new, right? So they're kind of in that spot. So like where you're trying to not be in is next year. Let's say, because we're talking about the number 1 pick, right? If the Titans get the number 1 overall draft pick, Sam wants to clean house, because what Sam doesn't want here, and I'll get to my answer in a second, is Sam doesn't want the Titans to keep Rand and Brian Callahan, draft Shedeur Sanders, get into Thanksgiving of next season, being a terrible team again, firing Brian Callahan mid-season, and then having to go do this whole thing again with Shedeur Sanders, and then maybe it's Dion coming from Colorado a year later, but who knows? It's a mess, right?
Here's my point that I want to, and I'll ask this to the chat right now.
Okay.
Is to me, if you are, let's say the Titans lose out. Let's say they have the first overall pick. Let's say Shedeur Sanders is the guy that's coming in. If you are not firing Rand and Callahan before you make that draft pick, I think you should commit to them for 5 years.
I think you should commit to them until Shedeur Sanders is figured out.
You cannot do this whole Shedeur's 1 or 2 years in. He's developing. Now we're going to pull the rug out from under him and fire his head coach. So this is what I'm saying. It's either Brian Callahan, after 3-14 as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, is the guy for the next 4 years, and you're willing to sign off on that, or you reset and you pair a quarterback with Shedeur. I think those are your two options. I'm surprised at after 3-14, the way that this organization has spent money and failed, that people keep drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I genuinely am stunned by that like all of this losing and people are still like, hey, come on.
So I want to update the poll because again, we're going through if the Titans get the number 1 overall draft pick, the ownership should clean house to align the GM, the head coach, and the quarterback. I'll update the poll in a second. Sam is a full-on buy on the situation. I've not answered yet, but I'll give my answer and get more comments from you guys. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn to if you have an injury that pops up in life. You have to know who you can turn to, who you can trust to take care of it and make it efficient, because nobody likes lingering injuries and nobody likes sitting in doctor's office waiting rooms, because both those things are frustrating and annoying, and they tend to last a lot longer than they need to. But the Bone and Joint Institute's got you covered. I've been the last couple of years, I guess it was back in the spring, Sam. I had some knee tendonitis. I went in for an initial checkup on that. I was in and out, like walking in the door, walking in my car, leaving in 35 minutes. Then I had a follow-up appointment a few months later, and I was in and out in 40 minutes, and it was great. And I didn't have to go back. I did half of my physical therapy that they initially thought I needed to, because they were able to educate me on how to get that injury better on. And they can do the same thing for you. If you need surgery, they've got the experts right there. If you need rehab, they've got all of the great resources and treatment care options for you as well. Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin, online. Book an appointment when you need them. boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. It's the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up. Get up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet. Whatever your first bet wager amount is, if your first bet loses, that money goes into your account in the form of a bonus bet when you sign up with the code ATOZ Sports with the sportsbook born in Vegas. BetMGM.com. Struggling through that there. Yeah, awesome. Before I toss it to you real quick, the last thing that I will say is I am okay with this idea of pairing Shedeur Sanders with Brian Callahan. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with keeping Callahan long-term and making the commitment to him in theory, right? The one thing that I want for this organization is for them to have direction and alignment and commitment. Here's why I'm pushing for it to be a buy. I don't think Amy will do that. I think, and so maybe I'm reading too much into what I think Amy will do, but I think if you bring in Shedeur Sanders and you suck next year in 2025, I think she'll fire Brian Callahan. I think she'll do the same toxic thing of rotating in who her number 1 is. And,
would that not be Rand? Would Rand not be the first to go? I don't know. That's a tough thing, right?
Because Callahan's task is the quarterback. And so I could 100% see a spot where you draft Shedeur Sanders. He looks okay. The team isn't good around him. You lose some games his rookie year. Now Callahan's canned. Now Shedeur is in an unfair spot where he has to be given a new head coach and a new coaching staff, and there's no stability around him, because I think that's how Amy operates. I think that's how she's always operated, unfortunately, as
Mm-hmm.
the owner of this team. So my push for this alignment is a preventative measure from what the Titans, I think, will do to themselves. And that is what I don't want to happen. I don't want this to come across as, and I like,
Well, it's fair.
perhaps it has. So, like, let me make it clear. I'm not necessarily advocating for Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon to be fired. There is an argument to be made that neither one of them deserve to be fired and that they need to be able to stick this out for more years. And I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
I would need full commitment from ownership that we're going to see this throughout the duration of the rookie contract of your rookie quarterback and see how much better it gets. Like, you have to be all in whatever way you go.
And you've stated that before, and I think that's fair. I think what you are interested in is the opportunity to hit the big ass red reset button and do it the right way, right?
It's hard. You don't have, Austin, trivia question. When was the last time the Tennessee Titans had the first overall pick in the draft? And
2016. Oh, and used it?
Never. Oh. They've never picked first overall. These opportunities don't come up all that often.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, there are many teams that have never picked first overall because you don't want to pick first overall. If you're being honest with yourself, you don't want to be the worst team in the league. So when you do have one of these disastrous, nightmarish seasons that we're all going to hope to forget about, well, this is when you have to take advantage of the fact that, you have this opportunity and you can get aligned and you can,
right. So, all right, I'm going to go to the poll question because we put up the poll.
I think I've dominated 36 minutes here.
No, you're good, dude. You're good. You haven't talked in a long time. I had to do a pregame show from my Airbnb in Columbus with a plank behind me and like a strained voice from the horse.
Makes up for like my sick days where I couldn't speak earlier.
No, you're good. You're good.
Bodying 37 minutes by myself.
You're good. All right. So the question, if Titans get the number 1 overall pick, ownership should clean house to align the GM, head coach, and QB. 67%, Sam, are selling this. I think it's pretty wild that the fan base is this the fan base showing indirect faith in Brian Callahan, though?
I don't know. I don't, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't mean this in a bad way. I don't understand you guys. Like, I don't because I feel like when we have these shows after a loss, after everything, it's fire Brian Callahan. We hate Brian Callahan. It's fire Rand. Rand doesn't know what he's doing. And then when we ask you a question about it, everybody's like, oh, no, we're good. We don't need to fire anybody. We're bought in for the future. I don't understand it all the way, to be honest. So I would love people who are saying sell to enlighten us in the chat on to why. Curtis says we just want Levis gone pretty much. That's pretty much it. Levis is gone. They suck with or without Levis. I mean, this is a bad team. Bad team. That's like what I cannot emphasize enough. Like, they're not good at anything. You could argue that the only position group that's above average on this team is defensive tackle.
Yeah, because you had 2 guys. Well, I mean, Sebastian was.
He's fine. He doesn't do anything but. Yeah, he doesn't do anything but stop the run.
Which you need, which you couldn't do Sunday.
He doesn't make tackles all that often. He just kind of like gets in the way.
All right. So my answer is I'm also selling this as a must. They don't have to. It is definitely a good opportunity to weigh that if they have the number 1 overall pick, because I like the idea of starting it clean. But I'm also looking at this situation, and somebody brought this up earlier in the show, going over it, and that is if you do have the number 1 overall pick, now you allow Rand and Callie together to go draft the quarterback and evaluate what they want to do with that number 1 overall pick, with that clean opportunity. And I think that is very close to starting over. And I think in hindsight, this season has been awful. It has been so gross. And I think we all know that. And they do have way more problems than just the quarterback position. But the quarterback position is what started the downfall of the season and allowed it to unravel before it even had a chance. And halftime of the Bears game, Titans are up 17-0, and everybody's going like, "Oh man, well, how about this? How about this? And then it was just all hell breaks loose, and it's been hell for the last 4 months. And so I think I'm okay giving Rand and Callahan the chance to go draft number 1 overall, because here's the thing too, and we'll get to this. I don't think it's smart to make Brian Callahan feel like he has to win a game, because winning a game
This is the
hurts
situation.
the team, but winning a game might keep him his job,
100%. What I struggle with that, let's play out that scenario that you give Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon the opportunity to pick first overall. The issue with that is, how realistically competitive do we expect them to be in 2025? I don't know if we can even bank on them to do a full rebuild, given the amount of money that they've already committed to some veteran players on their roster. And how many years do you then give them to fix it before you pull the plug?
Yeah.
Now, I'm asking you, what would you do in that scenario?
All right, lay it out again.
So Brian Callahan, Rand Carthon stay on staff. You have the first overall pick. Let's say you take Shedeur Sanders, right? I don't view it as a full rebuild. You have too many veteran players that you've got big money committed to.
You're gonna have those, you have to spend the money, and so first of all, you have to spend salary.
I see some of this, right? Because you've already built, and to their credit, they've already built the foundation of what you hope can be a good offensive line. You've got a guy like J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski on the left side. You have the pieces to potentially have an offensive line. But so that would be my question is, how many years into the career of Shedeur Sanders would you give the Titans to turn it around and be a playoff team before you feel like you have to move in another direction?
3.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure everybody in the chat that disagrees with me, that's selling my idea, is willing to commit to Callahan Carthon through 2027. It will be January of 2028 before,
which is the first year of the new stadium, right? 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So you're talking about year, but hey, year 3 of Shedeur under Rand and Callahan, which is year 4 of roster building, right? Because this is year 1 of roster building. I think that gives you something. Now, Jay is like, the Titans aren't going to be in a position to get Shedeur Sanders. We're talking about this. Jay, I don't know if Jay missed the first half of the show.
The scenario happened.
Yeah, if the scenario happens, which is not crazy. I think the hardest thing is for the Patriots to win a game.
Yeah, who do they have? The Giants.
The Giants have the Colts.
I think I look at the Giants' schedule as 2 winnable games because it's Anthony Richardson and potentially a Kenny Pickett Eagles, and then I forget that Drew Lock is playing for them, and they're actively playing bad football. Yeah, actively throwing multiple pick sixes in a game.
Yeah.
And I'm just okay, this they went out to that early lead against the Falcons, and it was rookie debut for Michael Penix, and I was kind of oh, okay, Giants, frisky, maybe a win could help the Titans. And then Drew Lock was hold on, no.
Yeah. The hard thing is that here's what you'd have to have happen, because I just said, I think the hardest thing is for the Patriots to win a game. What you would have to have happen, because the Patriots have the Chargers, who are trying to fight for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
There are 2 spots in the AFC playoff that are still not clinched yet. The Chargers have to win against the Patriots this week, and I think that would do it. Would clinch them a spot. And then the Patriots have the Bills.
I will say, you could make the same argument, by the way. So it's unlikely, right? You can make the same argument for the 3rd overall pick. Picking 3rd, you're going to get one of the quarterbacks.
Or 2nd. Yeah, but personally, I view this as a 1 quarterback.
I would agree with you, but I'm just saying, in general, I don't know if the NFL views it that way. There's a lot of teams that are high on Cam Ward. I'm
not. I think he's ACC Will Levis. But
sure.
He's better, but I think he's still that version of erratic. So then you look at the Patriots' last game against the Bills. That's where I don't know, because the Bills could be locked into that 2 spot, because the Chiefs are locked into the 1 spot and the Bills have cushion on either side. So I believe if the Bills win this upcoming weekend, I believe they would lock in the 2 spot, and then they're playing for nothing in that last week. And maybe that's where, the Bills play the Jets and the Patriots. So they could beat the Jets, lock in the 2 spot. Now the Patriots and the Giants are playing the Bills and the Eagles, who have their spots locked up for the playoffs and are resting guys because they got to play wild card weekend. Now the Eagles could be playing for the 1 seed in the NFC if the Packers beat if the Packers beat the Vikings, then the Vikings could then beat the Lions. There's a lot of stuff that could happen there, right?
Yeah, it's complicated.
And so I do think it's, it could happen. The Titans getting the number 1 pick could happen. They would have to obviously lose against the Jags this upcoming weekend. That's kind of the start of it all for that. So we got a lot of super chats to get to. You got something else?
Real quick. This is the last thing that I'll pose the chat. This is an impromptu other questions. The same question with different context. Hear me out. This is not going to be concise.
Okay.
Titans have the first overall pick.
The
scenario that we've laid out. An opportunity to draft the quarterback. Would you rather fire them now? Like Callahan, Carthon, the pair. Put it in the chat. Fire them now and get a new regime for the new quarterback, or guarantee that they're here through the end of 2027. Fire them now or guarantee they're here through the end of 2027. This I'm curious on, because there cannot be a Titans fan that is happy with how Callahan, Carthon has worked so far. So are we taking a blind shot and trusting that this is going to work out? Pistol Grip says, I sound dumb. No, I don't sound dumb. This is what we were just talking about. You're giving them 3 seasons with a rookie quarterback.
Okay.
Would you rather reset it with a new regime, or because that's surprise? A lot of people are saying 2027. So fair enough. It just surprises me. It surprises me that we'd rather not get a new group, a new regime to pair with your young quarterback versus, Swan says 2027, and I'm very unhappy. My question, why? Then why 2027? I'm not trying to do this to like poke at anybody. I'm trying to understand where this fan base is coming from. So Swan, please put in the chat. If we can all agree that we're very unhappy with how Carthon, Callahan have run things, and then we're going to extend them through 2027 because we're going to give them time to develop things around their new young quarterback, why would we let them be the ones building around this young quarterback instead of finding a different group?
All right, so I'm going to end one poll. 66% of people think that the idea.
It's a blowout. Everybody in the chat says 2027. I'm just
really.
Yeah, everybody's saying 2027.
Well, not everybody. I see Jerry says new regime if Sanders is there. Man, I just think it's.
This is not me. I'm not saying you guys are wrong even. I'm just curious because I find it puzzling that like the entire Titans fan base can say, we don't like what Brian Callahan has done. We don't like what Rand Carthon has done. It's been a disaster. And so you said we want consistency. I do too. That's all I've been asking for on the show. I'm just surprised that you're looking for consistency in the one thing that's been consistently bad.
I'm putting up a new poll.
So that I'm just curious. I'm just trying to get this conversation rolling because I find it interesting that we can acknowledge it's been bad, acknowledge that we don't have a ton of confidence in them moving forward because it's been bad.
And so Demario's yelling at you. It's the first damn year, right? Like it's the first year.
It's the second year of Rand.
Right.
Rand is the guy that took Will Levis.
Yeah, and it's what we'll never know is, was it more Vrabel? Was it more Rand? Was it more Amy of who wanted Will Levis at 33 overall? Right? We'll never know that. Truthfully. So I think I lean more towards keeping them and locking them up through 2027? Because here's the biggest thing that I don't know. Because I've Top Tier has had a who are you hiring? And I've seen Top Tier mention that a few times. Who are you hiring? And my question, like, that's a good question. Who are you hiring? But my follow-up to that is, who is doing the hiring?
Well, yeah, MB says same deal. You provide no solution. Who at head coach and GM? I don't know. Any head coach. What if I told you it's Ben Johnson?
Yeah, but you're not going to get Ben Johnson.
I don't think you will, but right. But
Ben Johnson's not going to leave for that.
What if I told you it was Ben Johnson? What if I told you it was a head coach that you would be excited about?
And do we even know if Ben Johnson is going to be a good head coach?
No, we don't.
I mean, he's got his.
But I think people are generally excited for Ben Johnson as a head coaching option. What if I told you it was Ben Johnson and then it was, I don't know, insert GM that comes from X successful, the Broncos assistant GM? I don't know. Curtis wants to know what my beef is with Rand. I don't have one. My beef is with Titans fans that pretend like Rand doesn't have his prints on this. Like, we need to hold people accountable for the good and the bad. And I think we're too often being like, well, this is really the first year of Rand. This is 2 years now of Rand, and we've gone woo downhill.
But like, I think
you, Curtis, yourself, were sitting here saying, I want Levis gone. I want Levis gone. I want Levis gone. This is the general manager that was in power when the Titans drafted him. So it does not give me a ton of confidence that they're going to make the right decision at quarterback moving forward. That's not a beef with Rand. I like Rand. I think Rand, there are aspects of this job that Rand does very, very, very well. I think he needs to prove himself in other areas, but I don't think we're allowed to pick and choose when we can say, this is Rand Carthon's fault. All the good stuff that's happened, credit to Rand, and all that bad stuff, well, that we're not blaming Rand for that.
I still, and Darius is joking. He's saying this is all J-Rob's fault. But no, John Robinson's fingerprints are all over this too, right? Because like Rand's first off season, he had to clean out the roster. He had to clean up the salary cap, and then they went and spent a bunch this past off season, and it's failed. And it's failed because, in my opinion, the quarterback failed to allow it to start to build momentum. And if the quarterback position, and here was my thing. If I was, and this is why I struggle to move off of this, and why I truly believe that Rand and Callahan deserve to take the quarterback or the number 1 overall pick in this hypothetical, is because I said in the offseason that, okay, you're going to go spend a bunch of money to find out yes or no on Will Levis. And if it's no on Will Levis, then at least you have talent around the next guy to find the answer quicker on the next guy. I still subscribe to that. So I'm going to be okay with that.
The only reason I don't is because I think you don't have talent.
I think you do.
Money and you got a bunch of bad players.
I don't think, is Calvin Ridley a bad player?
I don't think he's what you paid him to be.
Yeah, but that's the market. That's receivers, dude. And he's going to be like the 20th paid receiver by the next offseason.
I mean,
maybe lower than that.
For a team, like I said, a team that spent over $200 million, that was the number 1 free agent spender behind only the Carolina Panthers.
Hey, Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard have been healthy. Like look at Lloyd Cushenberry towards Achilles.
Tony Pollard's been a very good signing. Tony Pollard has been very, very good.
And that was the one I think most of us mocked at that point. But Lloyd Cushenberry was good until he popped his Achilles. Like that's a big deal there. The Jerry Sneed has been hurt.
That was a factor. Why did I not want the Titans to trade and sign with Jerry Sneed?
But his injury history is different from this situation. It's not the same. If it was his knee. If his knee was keeping him out,
training camp. His knee kept him out of training camp.
That was the plan, though. But like his knee was fine in the first few games of the season, and from what we know, that he was giving up.
I get it, but like to me, all of this is all excuse making. Like this is all.
I'm trying to stay consistent.
Results.
I'm trying to stay consistent, right?
But also variables change that allow us to no longer be consistent. Variables like. I thought I was of your same thinking that if Will isn't it, you're not going to win a ton of games, but you'll at least look and see, hey, we have all of these pieces. And the most concerning thing to me has not been the Titans' record. It has not been Will Levis. It has not been Mason Rudolph. It has been that the team around them also sucks. And in games that Will Levis played amazing, and Brian Callahan came back and said, what a great game by Will, you still lost.
Yeah, because I think Sam, I think it unraveled early. and
Sure.
I think the talent, I think we've spent so much time focusing about the quarterback position that we forgot and have lost sight on how injured the defense got.
Where?
The secondary.
The secondary hasn't been an issue.
Okay.
That's the thing to me, is that like the biggest injuries to this team were cornerback. That's the one position that I don't think they've had a big issue.
Okay.
They
Safety.
starting linebackers.
Inside linebackers.
They had their starting linebackers for most of the year till they traded them because they sucked, because they couldn't stop the run.
Well,
the edge rushers that you signed up to have can't rush the passer. The offensive line that you built and hired your dad to come head coach or to come coach can't protect the passer. There's a lot of issues with this team beyond injuries.
But I think the injuries have wrecked the back half of the defense. I think they really have.
Now the injuries are starting to stack up and like really wreck.
They've been stacking up. They trade away Ernest Jones, and that was maybe I don't know if that, it depends on who they draft with that 4th round pick.
Front has been healthy all year, and you're still one of the worst pass rushing teams in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, Eric says Rand can draft was another thing. Maybe. I mean, like, I like JC Latham. I think that's looking like a great pick.
T'Vondre
Sweat looking like a good pick. Year before, you're looking at a guard, a bust quarterback. You're looking at a tight end that's now your second tight end, even after maybe your third tight end, because Nick Vannett gets used more than Josh Wiley now. Not much there. Or 2020. Tajay, who you signed a running back.
He's been hurt too.
In 2024, you brought in, what was Tajay's story coming out of Tulane? Injuries. He comes in, you sign a running back to replace him, to take the carries away from him. 2024 draft, first 2 picks look good. Cedric Gray in the 4th round.
He get hurt, right?
He's not hurt. He was the 7th inside linebacker before he got hurt.
No, I understand, but like that's like a Cedric Gray was not good before he got hurt, but getting hurt wrecked any potential of him having a good productive rookie year.
Sure.
Right. And then you like who you drafted in the 7th round with James Williams. That was an interesting roll of the dice project, right? I think it's interesting.
Sure.
I think nobody thought James Williams was going to be a positive impact as a linebacker.
Jarvis is a good pick. Jarvis is a
good pick. Yes. So I think there's positive signs in the draft.
I do think there's positive signs in the draft. I'm not ready to say Rand can draft yet. I think I think 50-50. I think one class was a horrible class. One class is looking solid so far. And with upside to be really, really strong.
I think both drafts, I think if you remove Will Levis, which I understand is the big deal. Well, like I think there's a world where we can say, how do you draft outside the quarterback, knowing that the quarterback draft is a different beast too. Like you get judged so heavily.
I think that class is a bad class outside of Levis. I mean, I liked Peter Skronsky. I like him as a player. I don't like him at 11 overall as a left guard. He's not a good enough left guard to be 11th overall pick. Yeah. That's a huge overdraft. And if we knew he was going to be a guard, why did we take him in the 1st round? I think Tajay Spears has not been very good. He doesn't have great vision. He has been injured. You replaced him with Tony Pollard, and there's a reason that you haven't gone back to Tajay since he has been healthy. Josh Wiley is irrelevant in this offense. He doesn't do anything. Colton Dowell hasn't been on the field, and he was a project UT Martin wide receiver anyways. That class is not a good class for an NFL draft class to get.
Jalen Duncan was the other piece in there. Yeah,
horrible.
Good.
Maybe
a 6th round, like
I said, 2024 draft class gets 2 thumbs up from me. Early returns are looking good. 2023 is a thumbs down, 1 thumb down maybe. I'm just saying. I think, and again, and this is the crap, man. Like those were Vrabel picks. Oh, those bad ones. Those were Vrabel.
I think Skronsky looks like a Vrabel pick.
I think the general manager was the general manager when they made the pick.
I think Skronsky was a Vrabel pick.
Called him a blue chipper in the
yeah.
And I like Peter Skronsky. I do. I think he's a strong player that can get a second contract with this team. Value-wise, you can't take a guard 11th overall.
But I'm with you. But that was, again, the draft. I don't. Jamar says Skronsky isn't a problem. But he's not. I think year 3 we'll find out about Skronsky. I've heard Ramon Foster talk about year 3 for guards is when you see that guard really blossom into a beast.
Devin says Rand is a good GM. I don't care what anyone says. Callie isn't the leader of men. He takes the reins when he sees things falling apart. It's literally his job. Look, I'm just saying, Curtis, I didn't have a report on this. I have never heard that piece of information facilitated Vrabel's picks one year. I've never heard that information before. I'm just
Buck talked about Rand Carthon allowing Vrabel to make enough decisions to make bad decisions, like Andre Dillard. Just to kind of set that straight. Again, Andre Dillard was a Vrabel.
Comes from somewhere. Information comes from somewhere. Media is used as a way of.
But that is what I think that's referencing. Is that Buck said that?
I've never seen that before, but even so, media information comes from somewhere. Somebody has to say it in order to have it get out there with the media. My whole point is maybe Rand is a good GM. We haven't seen it yet because the team is losing, and they lost more this year when he had more control than they did the year before when they had a worse roster. By the way, I don't think there's any debating. The 2023 Titans were a worse team on paper than the 2024 Titans. And they won more games than they have this year.
It was Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, and they did have some.
Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. They're going the wrong direction. And so you guys can say Rand's a good GM all you want. You can say it till the cows come home. They've lost games.
Sure. And look, all right, so let's get to some super chats because we have a lot of them and a lot of other comments that I've favorited as well. All right, real quick, T-Dot is out there doing the good work. They're trying to clean up our state, keep our state beautiful, and be part of the solution to end littering across Tennessee by going to nobodytrashestennessee.com. There's so many different ways that we can all pitch in. It's by stopping littering ourselves, help cleaning up that litter when we see it, and go to nobodytrashestennessee.com and find out all the different ways you can get involved, whether it's taking your kids to a litter cleanup. The weather's a little bit better over the next few days. Maybe you can do that before the rain comes in. Take your kids out of the house. I know they're home from school. You need to get them doing something besides playing video games that they got for Christmas so they can go outside and help clean up litter with nobodytrashestennessee.com. You can also take a litter quiz that can give you discounts and save some money on some local event tickets. They got you right there as well. So visit them online, nobodytrashestennessee.com.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. Whatever your first bet wager amount is, goes back into your account in the form of a bonus bet for a second chance to win big. Whether the college football playoff, the NFL, NBA season is here. We're even in the midst of college basketball. Use that bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM.com.
All right, so we got super chats coming in here. Richard says, starts off with Titans in a win. Will they beat the Jags or the Texans to finish strong? Titans can beat the Jags or the Texans, or the Browns losing to the Dolphins. So there's some, I don't like, can the Titans win either of these games? Yes, they could. They could beat the Texans, who are playing for nothing because they got the 4 seed locked up in week 18 at home wearing the Oilers jerseys. They can absolutely beat the Jags on the road. Will any of those, that would be wild, because how would that drop the Titans in the draft order is if they win one game?
If they win one game, I do think they end up picking 6th in the draft. So not only are you out of quarterback range and Travis Hunter range, I think you're out of Abdul Carter range. I think you really limit, like you guys, I'm sure you'll talk about it tomorrow with Easton Freeze, Austin, but what are we rooting for? Because this chat has been a chat even last year, going back to the last game of the season. And I heard it out. I understand it. Never wanting to root for your team to lose games. It is disastrous if the Titans win against the Jaguars, and they're 1-point favorites. So,
really? I haven't even looked at my BetMGM app yet. Andre says Rand had a hand in hiring Callahan. Now Rand and Callie can get the QB. I think you've already read this super chat maybe
Yes,
earlier
yes,
in the
yes.
show. Yeah, so we took care of Andre's first one. He's coming back. Ryan says trade the fake leader Jeff Simmons and the first round pick for JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy. I'm not
That's a
endorsing.
topic.
But JJ McCarthy is an interesting case
Yeah.
study because what do the Vikings do with Sam Darnold? I think that's a really interesting thing moving forward, headed into this offseason. And then what do they do with their first round pick at quarterback? I don't think they expected Sam Darnold to be this productive like most of the NFL did, but now you have a 27-year-old quarterback who's hitting free agency, who's leading your team to 14-1 or whatever it is, and or 13-2, whatever they are.
They're 13-2.
They're
13-2 and have the Packers and the Lions, so they could either be 13-4 or anywhere in between.
Regardless, if you go 14-3 with Sam Darnold and he throws 40 touchdowns like he's going to, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, JJ McCarthy next year, we're good. But I don't know what you do because you're going to have to, whoever is Sam Darnold's team next year is going to pay him a bag.
Yep. Andre comes back, super chat. We're also 1 year into fixing 3 years of roster rot. They had to spend the money regardless, had to tell fans, be competitive despite Levis as an unknown. I agree with Andre.
Technically, we're 2 years into that.
2 years into,
you've been trying to fix roster rot for 2 years now. That was Rand's entire purpose.
Yeah, but I think you had to it's like that. You had to do the demo. You had the demolition year, and now you're building again.
Sure, but
because the first year of Rand, they had to
they hired Rand and he cut everybody,
and then had to hire and then signed 1 year contracts. Remember, the 4 or 5 guys that were 1 year deal guys, so they could reset. So they had to do the demolition of the roster.
That is year one to me. Is the year that you cut everybody and then you sign a bunch of 1 year deals and you basically cut your payroll, give yourself some cap flexibility, know that your roster is going to suck. That's year one. And that's part of my point is you cut everybody, knew your roster was going to suck. You still won 6 games.
For sure. All right. We've got some trivia to get to, Sam.
Let me
sure. All right. Yeah, you can get the trivia pulled up.
All
right. We will wrap up this Thursday show with a little bit of fun. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. The end of the year is a great time to buy a new ride. They're trying to get those cars off the lot before January 1. Saving had and go see our friend Payne Bone and his team in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Sam, are you ready?
Let's go.
Here we go. All right, trivia time. Now we're on the same team, regardless of how you voted in the poll. We're on the same team for some trivia.
Also, by the way, I love the premature Sam Darnold discourse that's happening in the chat right now. This gives you a little off-season peek.
I can't wait. The off-season is going to be a ride, guys. All right, let's start with NFL. We go NFL history television.
Today when I'm actually on the
I know
on the show.
We haven't had college football in weeks, which is crazy because we're in the middle of the postseason. All right, let's hit it with NFL.
All right, hang on. Let me get it back. All right, NFL. Here we go. Undrafted out of Harvard, this tight end caught 33 touchdowns as a Buccaneer from 2014 to 2022. This is Cameron Brate.
Oh, yeah, that is Cameron Brate.
I love Cameron Brate. Was always a big Cameron Brate guy. The Oedipus complex is a central tenet of a psychoanalytical theory created by this famous Austrian neurologist who lived from 1856 to 1939. This should be Sigmund Freud.
Sure.
He's Austrian.
Oh, I read that as Australian. I was like, that's a long way to go for Australia.
A young Joseph Gordon-Levitt had a supporting role as Tommy Solomon on this Emmy-winning NBC sitcom from 96 to 01. Young Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
NBC sitcom in the 90s? I don't even know where to start.
I'm just trying to picture I feel like young Joseph Gordon-Levitt literally looks like Joseph Gordon-Levitt now. Roseanne.
Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun. Okay. I've never seen that.
Me either.
There we go. Good job, chap. Movies. Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena played LAPD officers and partners in this 2012 action thriller that also featured Anna Kendrick. I think I've seen this.
I don't think I have.
I've seen most Gyllenhaal movies, but this is not ringing a bell.
End of Watch.
End of Watch.
I have never heard of that.
I don't think I've seen that then. That does
No.
not sound. Chat was quick with it though. Let's go.
They were, yeah.
Music. Everybody's talking all this stuff about why don't they just let me live? I don't need permission, make my own decisions. Are lyrics from what 1988 Bobby Brown song? Everybody's talking all this stuff about why don't they just let me live? I don't need permission. It's my prerogative. Yeah.
Yep.
That's my prerogative. Yep. Good call. Who is that in the chat, man? Pulling.
Vita, I think, was first on it.
Founded by third-generation dairy farmers brothers whose family originates from the Netherlands, this West Coast coffee chain now has over 900 locations and has drinks like the Annihilator. West Coast coffee chain. So is this a I mean, it's not going to be a Caribou.
Dude,
it's going to be that one that's like the coffee drive-through, Dutch Bros.
Dutch Bros.
Yes,
yeah.
It's like the drive-through that they have. My brother has them in Spokane. Great call.
Oh, yeah, you should have known that one.
The home of 4 U.S. Opens, a Ryder Cup, and a PGA Championship, Pinehurst Resort and Golf Course, located in what U.S. state? North Carolina.
Oh, damn it!
Pinehurst, North Carolina. Yes.
Oh, oops.
MLB. Reliever Mitch Williams posted a career-high 43 saves in 1993 for this National League team that went to the World Series the same year. This is the Phillies.
Oh.
Mitch Williams, Phillies legend. Cubs legend, too.
Oh, gosh.
Boy, okay.
I feel like I know the middle.
I feel like the outside Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
What do you feel like the middle is?
Is it Murphy?
Murphy?
What's his name? Cillian?
No, that's not Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy? Is it not? It looks like his eyes a little bit.
I think it's Zach Galifianakis on the outside. I'm seeing Christian Slater.
We got a couple Christians. We got a lot of Christian Slaters.
I don't know if I know who Christian Slater is, but let's roll with it, chat.
We should. Yeah, that's definitely Galifianakis, right?
Yeah. All right. How do we spell this? Is it right? That's it right there. That looks like it.
Get the Sierra Club out of here.
Out of here, Sierra Club. Oh my goodness. All right.
Killing our time.
Yeah. Christian Slater.
Yeah,
there it is.
There you go.
Boom.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Good job.
I did it.
Chat was good today.
God, I was terrible today.
Ooh, I like Seth Green. That would have been a good call. I would have bit on that so fast.
For the outside or the inside?
Yeah, either.
Inside.
Like
either?
Yeah, Seth
it could have just been Seth Green if he grew a beard and grew his hair out.
Seth Green did have that shaggy hair at one point.
Did he?
I think so.
Interesting. Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, that was a pretty interesting show, I'd say.
Yeah. We lively show, but I told you guys, I warned you off the top. I had some hot takes to fire off.
I feel like this topic could continue and will continue for like the next 2 weeks.
My throat hurts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is this the most talking you've done since like Saturday?
Dude, I've been fighting off a cough for like 8 minutes. I've been like, just as soon as we started trivia, I was like, all right, we got to lock in. I ate 5 of these throat lozenges during the show. So I got to go back to Walgreens and get some of those.
All right. Well, we'll let you get all your coughs out of here. All right. That's it for us here on this Thursday. Make sure you lock in and like the show. Buck Rising live tonight for prime time to wrap up his week. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. Easton and I will be back tomorrow morning to talk about this Jags game and which team has the most to lose by winning the game. That's going to be fascinating as well. So make sure you hit the like button as Devin says. Like the show, you filthy animals. Merry Christmas to you guys as well. Late Christmas. And we'll get this week wrapped up tomorrow on a Friday, but we'll catch you guys later on. Appreciate it as always.